Hello everybody, Joe Tactical here again. Gonna just go over a quick little idea. Sometimes if you're on a budget you can't exactly buy the type of gear that you need or that you want, but you have some materials laying around the house and could possibly help you with your gear needs for whatever they may be. Now, different people, all different skill levels and everything else, and I'm kind of self-taught in certain things. I've had some help with some things, but for the most part, I'm self-taught. And a couple things is ideas is this little grommet tool here. Now, it seems kind of insignificant, but you can get these. I got this thing. It's a Pittsburgh tool company or whatever. I got this at Harbor Freight, and it came with a whole bunch of little grommets. Now, for those that aren't familiar with a grommet, grommet is kind of like a rivet, but with a hole in it. And I'm sorry, my camera's not really the best of quality, but it's just kind of like a little top hat. Whoop, a little top hat kind of thing. And that works a little bit better. It's got a hole in it, kind of like the old Chuck Taylors, so you can feed the shoestrings through. That's just basically a grommet. Now, a couple things, let me show, and I've done a couple other things with this too. This is an old strap from like a duffel bag kind of thing or whatever, and I never used it. But I use the nylon on this quite frequently whenever I need to make a repair or whatever. Well, I just cut a little piece off for this video. Now, I made the hole prior to the video because sometimes the hole is a little tricky. And basically what I did is you find something that's around the same size as the grommet. You don't want to go too big because then it won't grab right. But what I did is I just stabbed this little screwdriver through, came through the other side, and then I pushed down as much as I can around it. And this is just my way of doing it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that do it a lot of different ways or whatever, and I don't need to be told their way. This is the way I do it. Once it's like that, I take the lighter and go around it. Now, it's going to be hot. Be careful, don't burn yourself. Use a little common sense. Then I just take my fingernail and go around it. Now, when you take it out, you got a pretty uniform size hole, or a shaped hole. And just so you know, the hole punch is too big and it won't cut through the nylon. It's not strong enough. It's a shame because that would work out really well. And I'm sure there's other materials that are thinner that you could probably utilize that method. But for this, it's not working. But keep that in mind too. Hole punch. Make holes. Uniform holes. Sorry about the camera bump. But and then you take the little grommet here and you push it through. But when you push it through, you also want to use your fingernails so you see every which way. And I'll show you with the magnifying glass here in a minute. You definitely want to make sure it's all the way through, because you only get one shot at this. Especially if you're paying for some material or something and you got to do this and you end up messing that material up. It's going to be a pain. But that looks pretty good. And I know my camera's not very good. I'm working on that. But so that's in there now. Then you take it. This way. That's what it was. I gotta open it. Yeah, and for like $3 or something to get a little grommet. I mean, sometimes, you do one repair with this, it pays for itself. Then you see that it's on there, and the male part goes on the bottom, or the unseparated part, because that male part kind of expands. So what it's going to do, squeeze down, and that's your grommet. Use a little magnifier in here. But this is the finished side. And if you put this on a piece of gear, if you had to make a drain hole in a pouch or something, or had to do some kind of thing like that, it would look like it's professional, like a sheath or whatever. Or you could put one on the other side if it was like a sheath and mount it, make your own loop or whatever. And I believe that there's even bigger grommets that you could mate two pieces of material together. Now, that grommet won't do it. I've tried it. Even I got the thing all the way through and it just wouldn't grab it. So, but if it was longer, when you do that, it would grab it. Now, something else to keep in mind is if you're going to do this in a pouch, you might not be able to get in and bite that other side. At which point, I would say to either get something that was like a Grommet for a tarp kit, where you don't need to bite both sides. You basically have like one end you put against like your block, like this, and it has like a little base, like a cup. Like let me just grab something real quick. It'll be like this. Will simulate this one part here. Then you put your material here, and then let's say the male part is inside, and you go all the way down in the pouch or whatever, and then hit it with a hammer from there. So, you know, just bear in mind, this isn't going to do everything, but just keep that in mind. And also, if you had to make your own tool for this, you could probably do it fairly easy. Now, I don't know everybody's mechanical ability, but if you drilled this out just like you would drill out a rivet, you could probably take the heads off of this, and then maybe, and I know it sounds like a lot of work, but you could probably tap that, and then you could screw in like get a long bolt or something and Loctite it in, and you would actually have your own little tools or whatever. You could set it up in a jig or however you wanted to do it, maybe with a long arm, that way you get more leverage or whatever. But just thought I'd show you guys, and you know, you don't have to get the Pittsburgh one. I'm sure they make better ones, but this was only a couple bucks and I picked it up, and you see that even though a couple of dollars, and it has the provided grommets, it has brass ones and other ones or whatever. I don't know what other materials they are, but I used the gold brass one because it's kind of the brightest and I won't really use that, so I use it for demonstrational purposes. But you know, hope it helped, and you know, get creative with it, guys. You don't have to buy everything you use and everything as far as gear, and you never know, if you make it and pass it down to your kids or something, it might be something that they cherish in years to come. So it's like leaving a legacy in some type of gear that you can pass down to whoever, or you know, even for yourself or whatever. But I'm going to shut up now. Check out some grommet tools, some rivet guns, different things. And for those who aren't familiar with rivets, basically if you're wearing a pair of jeans, look down. They're the things at the corners of your pockets. So keep in mind, get creative, think outside the box, and like I always say, let's all learn from each other. And I mean that to the fullest extent. Life's a learning journey, guys. Joe Tactical out.